Hey, you guys, time for another movie retrospective. This time, going back to 1990, Flatliners.
Hey, it was a lot better than I remembered it.
Yeah, it's funny because you had not seen it since it came out,
Since
right?
it came out, yeah.
I actually saw it in the theater in 1990.
Yeah, so did I.
And saw it many times on cable subsequently, so
Yeah.
I remembered it pretty well. But
Wait a minute, it was 1990?
Yeah,
Okay, then I didn't see it in the theater. I was in Korea.
yeah,
I saw it afterwards. I must have rented it
yeah,
at a video store after. But I was in the Army when I saw it. I remember.
I distinctly remember.
So I must have rented it. Yeah.
But yeah, it came out in 1990 and directed by Joel Schumacher, who up to that point, I think he got kind of a bad rap. Well, deservedly so, I suppose. Bad rap later on because he did fucking Batman and Robin and all those kind of shitty movies. But before that and before this one, he'd actually done St. Elmo's Fire, which was a good
Do you
movie.
remember the month this
And-
came out in?
No.
Because I was wrong. I did see it in the theater. No, I saw this in the theater at Camp Greaves
Oh, okay.
in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw this because I remember seeing this on the big screen, and I forgot we were seeing movies as they were coming out
Yeah.
when we were up on the DMZ because we kind of had priority, and only spent $1 to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good movie. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just trying to remember where it was that I saw this.
Yeah. I distinctly remember seeing it.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it in the theater.
Because 1990, that was the year I graduated high school, and me and my friends went to the movies all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of good movies came out in 1990. This one, Jacob's Ladder, like some other ones, so we saw all those.
I remember
around
liking
the
it
same
at the time,
Yeah.
but I kind of forgot about it,
Yeah.
you know? And then revisiting it again, this is a gem, man. This movie was much better than I remembered it, and this movie kind of stands up today.
Yeah.
It's beautifully shot.
It does look really nice.
Yeah, the way it's lit and the sets. They weren't really sets. They looked like it was it was shot at a university somewhere.
It was Loyola, wasn't it?
Loyola? Yeah, that's right. We looked it up as Loyola.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
various
beautiful.
museums around
And the way
Chicago.
it's all lit, it almost, it looked really cool.
Yeah, it's very gothic.
Very gothic looking.
Well, like I said, Joel Schumacher, previous to Flatliners, had done St. Elmo's Fire. He did The Lost Boys in 1987. So the funny thing about this, when we're watching the movie, because this is like all-star cast, man. Julia
Yeah.
Roberts is in this. Kiefer Sutherland is in this.
Keeping the fuck out of this shit,
Kevin
too, man.
Bacon is
He was
in this.
baconing his ass off.
One of the fucking... What are those people's names? The Baldwins.
Yeah, Baldwins.
One of the lesser Baldwins.
He was balding too.
Oliver Platt
they're
is
all.
in it.
It was the damn Hollywood Rat Pack for that time.
And the weird thing about it is that this was Julia Roberts' first movie after Pretty Woman. And the weird thing is I had remembered Pretty Woman coming out like a long time before this movie. But it wasn't. It was the same year.
Yeah.
This was her first movie after Pretty Woman. So she was like a big star, like on the rise.
And it's funny, the acting was good.
Yeah.
The acting was good. I forgot that quality was very high in the 90s. But we took it for granted.
Yeah.
A lot of the shit you see today, you know what I mean? Well, I don't want to bag on. Yeah, I'm bag on movie today. A lot of movies today, they look great, but the acting or the script isn't very good, It just depends. It depends on what you're watching, but the quality was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this movie here, okay. Now, if you have not seen Flatliners, they remade it in 2017. I haven't seen the remake. I watched some reviews of it and read some reviews. Yeah, most people, Ellen Page is in it and I love her, but most of the reviews said, there was really no point in remaking it. It didn't say anything new, and most of the reviews just said it's not terrible, it's just very bland and very boring.
Why the hell would you want to remake this movie? This movie's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just leave this one alone.
Yeah. And it's weird because, it was a big hit at the time, and I guess it has something of a cult following, but it's not the type of movie that everyone would be clamoring to remake. So it just seemed like a strange thing to remake.
Weird.
And to then not really do anything new with it or not, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's a group of these young grad students.
They're medical students.
They're medical students. Yeah, but I think they're graduates already, though. Aren't they? They had already graduated.
Well, I think they're in their residencies.
Okay. They're messing around with near-death experiences, and they're kind of inducing death in each other to have this near-death experience. I had one of those.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're normal listeners, but regulars know that I had a near-death experience and an out-of-body experience real close together, about a week or so apart. And so and some of the stuff that they say that describes a near-death experience, it's what it's like. It's kind of a universal kind of reports of, feeling, super pleasant and still and kind of overjoyed and going to a place where there's people and the tunnel in a way.
Yeah.
It's not all exactly like that. And then, kind of experiencing another universe or another form of reality. And it doesn't seem like a normal hallucination. I know what a hallucination is. We've dropped our acid, It is not a normal hallucination. It's much more real than a hallucination. It's almost more real than reality.
Yeah.
It's almost like a hyper reality. And, but anyway, they're inducing this death state in each other and experiencing it for themselves, and they find out there's like a weird side effect.
Yeah. It's basically, okay, it's the interesting thing about it, it's all Kiefer Sutherland's idea.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the main guy behind it, and he wants to do it basically for fame reasons. He's like super cocky type of thing, and he's like, I want to be the one to prove that there's life after death. So he kind of ropes his 4 friends. I don't even know if they were, I think the implication was that they weren't really friends before that, except maybe him and Kevin Bacon were, but he just knew them, and these were like the best students. They were the ones that he would trust the most, like with bringing him back, because initially he wanted to be the one to come back. He's like, I want to die for a minute, and then you bring me back and I'll tell you what I saw.
Yeah.
And then, so, and they all the other ones, when they end up doing, they all have their own reasons for doing it. Like Kevin Bacon is an atheist. He doesn't think there's anything to it. So he almost kind of wants to do it like to prove Kiefer Sutherland wrong. Julia Roberts is kind of like, she works with, dying elderly people, and she had like a tragedy from her youth. So she wants to make sure that people that she loved that have died are going to a good place.
Yeah.
So they all kind of have their own reasons for going along with it. Even though, like I said, Kiefer Sutherland, it's his idea, and he talks them all into doing it. Yeah. Now, as it goes on, Kiefer Sutherland is the first to go.
Yeah.
And he has a sort of pleasant experience at first, but then it starts getting weird.
Yeah, some people have like a hellish experience.
Yeah.
If they've done evil in their lives that's unresolved.
Yeah.
So, and then they come back into this world and they kind of bring it with them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a paranormal effect.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Wild. I forgot that aspect of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
weird.
the thing about it is that Kiefer Sutherland, he okay, we're gonna spoil this movie, so I'm just
gonna have to spoil it.
Yeah, Kiefer
it's
Sutherland.
Movie,
yeah, he's when he was a kid.
If you haven't seen the movie, go see it.
Yeah.
Some services allow you to see it. It's Shudder's got it right now, right?
Is it Shudder or Netflix? I think it's Netflix. Actually.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back.
But yeah, so Kiefer Sutherland, he's under for a minute. They bring him back. Was it a minute, or it might have gone a little bit longer because he was hard to.
Well, they were all betting. They were all taking bets and everything.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it is that Kiefer Sutherland comes back, and his whole thing was that when he was a kid, he was kind of a bully, and he had bullied this kid named Billy Mahoney. Him and his little bully friends had like chased this kid up a tree, and then were throwing rocks at him, and the kid fell out of the tree and died.
He died. Yep.
So Kiefer Sutherland was like responsible for this kid's death, more or less. So Billy Mahoney kind of comes back. Even though I don't think he came back as like a revenant, I think that was Kiefer Sutherland's own conscience.
Yeah, it was
beating
attacking
up on
himself,
and he was attacking himself.
Because
at one point, Kevin Bacon like finds him in the truck, and he's like has a pickaxe at himself, even though he saw it as the kid like coming.
It's
back
not
together.
really the kid.
Yeah, the kid is not there.
It's you're attacking yourself for your own sins in the image of the thing that you did wrong.
Yeah,
be a good
and
way
it
to
comes
put it.
back with
comes
you.
back to get
now,
you.
what Kiefer Sutherland so he starts having all this with this apparently this little kid like beating the shit out of him all the time, but he doesn't tell the other ones that. He just tells him, "Oh, I know there was something there, and we should go further and stuff." So then all the other ones start like auctioning off. Well, I'll go for 2 minutes. Well, I'll go for 3 minutes. Always, you know what I mean? And all this fucking shit happens. And then there's like this kind of love triangle thing going on between Kiefer Sutherland and Kevin Bacon and Julia Roberts, where
Sutherland and Bacon, they had this thing going on.
Well, Kevin Bacon is trying to like outbid her because he doesn't want her to go because he's worried that she's going to die. So there's that whole competition, and there's like whole competition between. So there's that whole thing going on. But as they all go, Oliver Platt, who is kind of there as the comic relief, he's the only one that doesn't go because he just thinks the whole thing is a stupid idea, and he's probably right. But the four other ones actually do end up going, and they all bring something back with them, and it's always something bad. Now the thing that some criticisms I've seen of this movie are that yes, every time they bring somebody back, it's longer and longer, and I've seen people complain that it's like, oh, it's repetitive because every time they have to bring the person back and they're like doing them with the paddles and all this other kind of stuff, and they show that over and over again. Yeah. But that's just the nature of this movie.
The nature of this movie.
It didn't bother me.
Also, the movies of the time did that. It was a movie of its era.
Yeah.
Nowadays they pare everything down, you know what I mean? To something small. They try to pack a lot in a movie nowadays. Yeah.
Although I heard the remake was even more repetitive.
Was it?
Like that they just did the same thing over and over again. And something else too, and I think this bothered me more at the time, but when I rewatched it, it didn't bother me as much. The people's quote unquote sins that they brought back with them, two of them had to do with childhood bullying. One, Julia Roberts' she felt responsible for her dad's suicide, even though she wasn't, because she was just a little kid. He was a drug addict. But she had felt guilty about it her whole life. So her thing that she had to resolve was that she had to forgive herself, actually, and like get rid of her guilt and whatnot. But really, the Baldwin character, he's the only one whose trauma is ongoing, because he feels bad because he goes and bangs every woman that moves.
That's right, I forgot about that.
And videotapes them without them knowing.
Right, he's got a whole collection of it.
And he's got like a whole collection of it. So obviously he feels like a shit about it. And he's engaged too. So he's also cheating on his fiance on top of everything else.
Was he cheating with her, or did he just have videotapes of the past?
No, he was still
doing it?
He was still doing it.
Okay, all right.
Like because they kept showing him like hitting on women like all the time. So he basically all he had to do, he didn't really have to do anything to resolve it. Like his girlfriend or his fiance came and found out, and she was like, "Fuck off, Joe," and then you know what I mean, and then she left, and then he didn't have any anymore, because I guess that was how that was resolved. But at the time, I think it bothered me because it's like, really, is this the whole, like, that's the whole sins and stuff? But now that I see it, I'm like, you know what? I think that's better, because everybody's, most people aren't serial killers. Most people aren't terrible.
No, it's mundane sins.
Yeah, most people just have these little mundane, I bullied somebody as a kid and I feel bad about it. I cheated on somebody and I feel bad about it. It's usually just mundane shit like that. Yeah. So you're not going to get, like, in a group of 5 random people,
everybody has regrets, and they have regrets of different magnitude. A serial killer's regret a lot bigger shit. You're not going to be followed that.
And I always feel like probably serial killers don't regret anything.
They may not have regret anything at all. Yeah, that's true. No regret at all.
So they would just die and be like, oh, flowers and butterflies, hooray.
Seeing this movie again, though, makes you I want to get this on Blu-ray for a collection. This movie's beautiful. The way it looks, the clothes, the settings where it's shot, just little things like Bacon's truck. He had like this, it looked like some kind of old foreign army truck. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it looked like a MASH up in
there. It was just a lot of stuff that we used to see in the late 80s and the early 90s era is represented in the movie. And it looked cool. It was like an idealized version of 1990.
And here's the thing. Like, if you think about it too hard, it doesn't really make sense. It's like, why would these medals, why are they in this, like, museum? Why is it all dark and with mood lighting?
It's just for ambience.
And stuff like that, and how are they getting all this equipment without anybody knowing?
Yeah, and why are they in this marble cathedral thing doing this? I think there was some symbolism about going to heaven.
Well, yeah, that
religious symbolism to it, They're trying to evoke that. And then, true, I tried to explain myself earlier that today they edit things down so they can make a 2-hour movie be more like 4 or 5 episodes from a mini-series. It's covering a lot of ground. They didn't do that in the 90s. This movie today, you could do it in about a 45-minute single episode out of a TV series. It didn't need to be as long as it did. But back in those days, that's just how we did it. Things were kind of expanded out.
Yeah.
And fleshed out into a movie that was more visual. You know,
Yeah.
it had good. It had like a good ambience to it. I liked it.
I did too, and like
Maybe a younger person might be frustrated by it. They might think it's slow and plodding. I don't know, but
I never found it particularly slow and plodding. But like I said, this
we came from this era.
Yeah, I was 18 when this came out, so
right. This is how I expect a story to be told to me in a certain way.
And and like I was gonna say too that that I like the idea, like the premise behind the movie is like so like a group of medical students, inducing death so they could. I mean, if you think about it too hard, yes, there's still no empirical evidence. It's still their word. They came back and they're subjectively telling you
there's
what
no way
they
to prove
saw.
it.
There's no way to prove it. So
although there was some paranormal phenomenon. Remember the boy that he thought he killed that fell out of the tree, wasn't he throwing rocks and it was actually making wounds on his head?
Yeah, but he was doing that to himself.
He was doing it to himself? Okay.
They didn't specifically lay that out, but like I said, there was one scene where Kevin Bacon has gone to the girl who he used to bully when he was a kid, and he went to go, she was still alive, and he went to ask forgiveness from her so his visions would go away.
Yeah.
And he took Kiefer Sutherland with him, and Kiefer stayed in the truck, and the kid, quote unquote, attacked him while he was in the truck, like with a pickaxe or something. But then when Kevin Bacon came back,
he was doing it to himself. That's right.
He was doing it to himself.
That's
so
right. I forgot about that.
So the implication being that he had been beating the shit out of himself this whole entire time, while perceiving it as
to be an outside
that
force.
he had brought this kid back from the dead somehow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's one of those ones where, don't think about it too hard. It's gonna ruin the movie. It's it's a cool premise. It's like you get to see medical students and the very the very famous, very good looking people at the time. It's like kind of still in the Brat Pack era a little bit. You get to see them like bringing other people back from the dead and having hallucinations and all this other stuff. And like you said, the cinematography on this, even though, like I said, it doesn't really make any sense from an experimental standpoint, once turn some damn lights on, but it looks super cool. They're like in this with all these fucking religious murals. There's like all these like in this alley, like in this alleyway, like where they go after one of this, like all these like neon, like graffiti paintings and shit, like it's almost like giallo looking.
It's cool. It's lit like a giallo movie.
It is.
Colored lights up on things.
Yeah, it's really cool looking, I think.
Smoke and steam coming out of the manhole covers. Yeah. It's not really the right season for that. It doesn't matter.
That's what I mean. Just
doesn't matter. It's like watching a movie. It's like watching a music video.
Yeah.
Kind of. And there was a lot of movies. I don't know if this movie did it. But there were a lot of movies in that era that kind of had that same look, like Seven Deadly Sins and Butterfly Effect kind of looked like this a little bit, in a way. I remember them being kind of like this, but I haven't seen those in a while.
Yeah, but Seven might have. I haven't seen that in a while either, but yeah.
And this kind of look went for a long time. I mean, even that damn terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger movie had that look to it. What was that shit called about the devil? We was fighting the devil.
End of Days.
End of Days.
That was 1999.
Terrible movie.
That was many years.
Although later. Visually it looked good in parts.
I always associate Flatliners with Jacob's Ladder because
Jacob's Ladder.
Because I think they came out. I mean, they came out the same year. I probably saw them. I think they only came out within a couple months of each other, and I saw them both in the theater. And they both had a very specific
kind of feel
to them. And Jacob's Ladder was obviously about someone having like a near-death experience, also, even though you didn't know that till the end. Spoiler alert. But you know what I mean. But so it was the same kind of thing where there was like this melding of like reality and vision, I guess, that had kind of. I think Jacob's Ladder was a little bit more of a freak out.
I don't know if the goth scene influenced these movies or if these movies influenced the goth scene, but these had a very gothic look, a very Catholic look to them, and the dark lighting and flames flickering and damn cherubs and shit.
Well, like I said, I it's hard to say because, I mean, The Lost Boys, which was also a Joel Schumacher film, had come out 3 years before this one. And when that came out, some of I guess the vampires were kind of more punk or metal looking than goth. Yeah. But goths were super into that movie. But I knew some people that looked like that before that movie came out. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's funny because we've been in the goth scene so long. It's like whenever a movie came out, like with a goth character, like Beetlejuice, for example, for a little while, like you'd get like
people copying that.
Normal. Well, no, you'd get like normals like saying, "Hey, Lydia."
Hey.
I'm like, bitch, I've looked like this since 1982.
Yeah. There were also some movies that I remember.
They just ripped me off.
A couple other ones that I remember that kind of The Crow. You saw everybody. The Crow influenced a lot of stuff. But remember The Prophecy.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that film kind of influencing certain things inside the goth scene. It was weird.
Yeah.
You know.
And I remember like it sucked too because like after The Matrix came out.
Oh yeah.
Then everybody, I couldn't say every time I walked anywhere, they'd be like, "Hey,
Matrix, hey,
Matrix, hey, Matrix."
I got so many fucking jackets that look like that.
I'm like, okay, we've only had these like many years before The Matrix came out. Thanks a lot, buttholes.
Matrix was excellent films though. I have to get those on Blu-ray.
I like the first one. I don't remember the other two. Although I remember seeing The Matrix and being like,
I was like,
that's not as edgy as it thinks it is.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
But I'm kind of an asshole like that. I probably need to see them again.
Oh, you're an asshole.
I know.
You're a serious asshole.
I am.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
But yeah, I'd have to see them again because I haven't seen them for a very long time.
Yeah.
So, But it was kind of cool to revisit Flatliners. Like I said, I saw it in the theater. I saw it on cable like a lot of times subsequently. So I hadn't really forgotten much of it. But you had kind of forgotten it. So it was kind of good to like revisit it because you said I didn't remember it looking like that. It still does look, it looks very much like the Lost Boys looked where everything was like fire.
It's a pretty movie.
Nighttime. Yeah, it's a good looking movie. Like I said, even though the aesthetics of it don't really make any sense from like a logical standpoint. But
logic shouldn't really be in movies,
it doesn't matter.
If you ask me.
Like I said.
This is art, and watching it, for me, I'm just saying, for me it was kind of like a time capsule and like a trip back to the 90s where things were just done for beauty. In movies, things were just lit a certain way. It was almost comic book like.
Yeah.
I liked it though.
And I don't have any problem with that. Like if they want to do a particular style, I don't.
Movie had a style.
Yeah, and like I said, this was kind of like this was probably like Joel Schumacher's last movie before he started getting shit on for doing like Batman and Robin.
Do you know what? You know what the style kind of reminds me of?
What's that?
The Dead Ringers style.
Yeah.
The way things were shot in those buildings, you know what I mean? They were really good looking. And I think that was Canada. That was shot in Canada, wasn't it?
Pretty much everything is nowadays.
I think Dead Ringers was. But it kind of had that stylistic kind of tone to it to me. Although it was, I would say the strength of the style was the same. It was a different style. It was more of a Catholic looking.
Yeah.
But it looked
now,
cool.
Remind me, because we just watched this the other day, but I don't remember if this was an aspect of the original movie or not. Now, when they came back from being dead, they had like all this of like hauntings and they were seeing shit and everything like that, but they didn't get like any special abilities or anything, did they?
Not that I remember.
And I don't even think, did they even mention anything like that?
No.
Because that was an aspect of the remake where they had all the sin stuff like in the original one, but they also had like little special bit, like one of them could like play the piano suddenly. Or do a Rubik's Cube and shit like that. So I don't think, I don't even think they mentioned any of that. And I think pretty much it was everything kind of had plausible deniability. Yeah. It could have just been them. Yeah.
But
I think the whole point of the original one, I think, was, it was kind of like a metaphor about sin and about expiating your sins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Coming to terms with the evil that you had done.
Right. And even if it wasn't evil, like I said, it was just mundane shit mostly, but that's what most people would have in their life. So
making fun of the wrong person and making fun of people and
Yeah, and then, or learning to forgive yourself, for stuff that wasn't your fault, like when you're a kid.
And I think everybody had one that they had to resolve when they came back.
Yeah, they did. And there was just 4 of them because, like I said, there were 5 main characters, but the one guy played by Oliver Platt, he didn't go because he was just like, he wasn't going to have it.
It's a good old flick. It looks good. I recommend it. You guys go check it out.
Yeah, and like I said, if any of you have seen the remake, let me know because I've heard that it really, really wasn't good.
And they had it. They were showing it. It was either on Netflix or Shudder. It's on there now.
I'm pretty sure it was Netflix.
I think that was Netflix, right?
Yeah, because it's funny because we've been noticing that Netflix, I guess maybe from competition from other streaming services, has actually been adding more older movies.
Yeah, they're trying to
their
match
streaming
Shudder,
service. They still have all their new stuff, but yeah, they've added like a shit ton of like older horror movies and like classics and stuff like that in the last few weeks. Yeah. So I think they're definitely trying to like up their game in that department, which hey, that's fine because we have both Netflix and Shudder.
Yeah.
And if I can just switch back and forth and see most of the shit I want to see, then I'm a happy person.
Tell you what, man, Shudder's the best $5 a month you can spend.
No shit, right?
Yeah.
And like I said,
It's
they're
only
still not
$5 a
paying
month.
us. We just love that shit.
Yeah,
and
they don't pay us.
They added a whole...
Bitch, you better pay us.
They added a whole bunch of new stuff
the
other day that we're definitely going to get around to reviewing. I won't spoil the surprise. But they added a whole shit ton of stuff that we're going to do. So, mostly from the 80s and some 70s stuff too.
Yeah.
All right. So
Wrap it up.
That will do it for our review of the 1990 Joel Schumacher film Flatliners.
Yeah,
Check it out if you haven't seen it. And remember, if you like the show, like, share, subscribe on all your social media. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/13o'clockpodcast, or go to our blog, 13o'clockpodcast.wordpress.com, and there's a little button in the sidebar that goes to a PayPal account if you'd like to give a one-time donation. Remember, these here movie retrospectives come out every Friday. Our 13 o'clock matinee, three new movies in the theater.
Also follow us on BitChute.
Yeah, comes out every Sunday, and our regular episodes come out every Tuesday, so check them out. We will see you next time. Bye.